Here's a story time about how I was kidnapped and gang raped in Dubai, the so-called safe space that women feel safe in, and I'm going to talk to you about how I survived and how I actually got justice in my case, and how I completely agree with this lady that as an Arab, these countries are not safe havens for women, and they are certainly not safe havens for Western women. I'm going to start to unpack some of the misogyny, what Sharia law means for women, and I'm speaking as someone who lived there for 15 years and has intimate knowledge of their legal system and of their laws and of their religious customs, values and morals that really impact how they treat people. So first of all, everybody's saying that Dubai is a really safe space, especially liberal or privileged white women. You're talking about your experiences, and while I don't doubt that there are women there that have had positive experiences in Dubai, as I did until I was kidnapped from the back of an RTA taxi, you are not speaking on behalf of all women. The UAE, according to the Human Rights Organization, has been identified as one of the major Middle Eastern human trafficking hubs. They're not trafficking white women, they're trafficking African women. And when African women try to report that they've been trafficked, the UAE police often arrest them. So they don't do this to white people because they value Western economy, Western workforce, Western labor, the pound. They need all of those things in their country. So it stands to reason that you as a white woman are going to be treated very differently to someone who's African, Indian, or Filipino. And I'll go into that a bit more when I explain to you exactly what I saw and heard and how I experienced racism from the police. And I saw the police be racist towards people who weren't of Western descent or European descent. So I was kidnapped from the back of a taxi, as I said, and by three Iranian men who were a prolific rape gang and had done this to tons of other victims. But I didn't know this at the time. What I did know was that when I reported the crime in the morning, the first place we went to the police station, I took my housemate with me. The first thing the police did was make racist and misogynistic jokes towards me. I was battered, bloodied, bleeding. I'd been horrifically attacked. I'd been tortured. I'd been beaten. And the police all sat around and laughed at me and made me draw pictures of my underwear. And when I was sitting uncomfortably on the chair, they actually shouted at me because apparently I was disrespecting the UAE. Now, I had internal bleeding and I had lots of other injuries which were very visible, and the guys started screaming at me, "How dare you disrespect the UAE? This is appalling. If you want to sit in the police station, you need to sit properly." So just to let you know, the place that you call safe, this is normal, and this is how they normally treat rape victims. They refused to take a statement. They made me draw pictures of my underwear, which they then circulated around the office, and they all laughed and pointed fingers at me, and then they sent me away. So again, a country that would look at a bloodied, battered rape victim and send them away, is that safe? Is that humane? Is this the type of value system that you want to see in other countries? No, I imagine not. After we left the police station, we went to Al Rashid Hospital, which is a government hospital. And guess what? The hospital refused to treat me. The Filipino staff, who I don't blame, I'm pretty sure that they were being directed by people above them, are told by the government not to treat rape victims. That's why there's no rape crimes reported, ladies and gents, because the UAE simply doesn't do anything about them. The police will turn you away and the hospital refuses to treat you. So this is a hospital that's supposed to look after people that are unwell, and they left me on the floor for 9 hours. 9 hours with no food and no water, and it turns out I'd also been drugged, as well as having visible injuries. What sort of fucking hospital does that treats someone like that? And it got to the point where in the end my housemate started screaming because she was traumatized. She was like, "What is wrong with you people? A woman has been raped and you're all standing around telling us that we have to go and stand outside in the 40-degree sun. Where's the humanity?" And eventually the hospital called the police on us because we wouldn't leave because I wanted to get treatment. Honestly, sometimes when I recount this story, I can't even believe that I'm alive today to tell the tale. So after they called the police, they called the CID. CID, to be fair, are a cut above your average policeman. And somehow they got the message that I'd been assaulted, and they actually took me to a female doctor who confirmed that I had serious injuries and that I had been sexually assaulted. From then, a police investigation was opened, and then the next day, someone told the British Embassy, and the British Embassy came to see me. And this is where things get even stickier. The British Embassy, sorry, there's a fly. The British Embassy were horrified that I had reported it. They said, oh my God, it says on the British government website, do not report rape in the UAE. We advise that you leave the country immediately. I was like, what? Why would I leave the country? Like, there's no way. You know, I was dragged out the back of a taxi on JBR in a tourist area, a safe space in Dubai. And I'm a professional business owner that had been living in the UAE for years at this point. No, they said, we don't want you to report it. We're not able to support you if you do that. It's a really dangerous place. What normally happens is that rape victims are arrested. That's right. So I had never heard this. I had no idea when I was, 31 when this happened, this is a few years ago, that rape victims are arrested. And then I began to go down a wormhole, and I looked up the case of Alicia Gali, an Australian woman who had been drugged and attacked by men that worked with her. She worked in a Fujairah hotel, and she woke up the next day covered in bruises with broken ribs, and she was sent to jail for 8 months. 8 months as a rape victim. And these are cases of European women. There was a Norwegian woman called Marta who was also sentenced to jail. And then a few years after me, there was a case that I personally assisted with a girl called Zara Jane Moisey, who reported rape, and she was also sent to jail. And then eventually, because we helped her with a media campaign, we actually got her out of jail and she got sent home, but they were never prosecuted. So my case, because it was so serious, that's probably why it was prosecuted. And at the time, you know, obviously it was absolutely terrifying being told by the embassy, hey, you could be arrested at any point as a rape victim. I couldn't process this information. I was thinking, how can you arrest me as a rape victim? Anyway, a few more details came out about this case. Here's some things that are really just absolutely chilling and harrowing, and they make my blood run cold even now. I'm going to post them in part 2.